Big weekend coming up. Big weekend coming up, and it all starts tonight with LA and Austin. Look, if you haven't been watching MLS the whole season, that's fine. I understand. But if you're starting to generate some interest, now is the time. This week, week 27, is the time for you to catch up. We got 7 or 8 more weeks after Sunday. It'll be 7 more weeks towards decision day. And the only team that has clinched a playoff spot so far has been LAFC. In large thanks to their aggressive pursuit of being great. Due to their pursuit of not being stagnant. The unwillingness of being satisfied. I'm not going to talk too much about LAFC in this monologue. Cascadia Cup. Seattle, Portland. You got to come out here and play with some pride. Listen, Seattle and Portland. I see a lot of you fans on social media arguing and just stressing yourself out whenever people bring up the discussion of what rivalry is the best rivalry in the MLS. And it seems like you all are bothered by the idea of people saying that El Tráfico is more interesting than the Cascadia Cup. That El Tráfico is better than the Cascadia Cup. Cascadia fans, let me tell you something. Oh well. Live with it. It's the reality. When it comes to sports west of I-35, when it comes to, I wouldn't say entertainment. I want to say that. But when it comes to sports, generally speaking, when it comes to sports, American sports west of I-35, the city that majority of Americans are paying attention to is Los Angeles. Professional sports west of I-35 will never thrive without the city of Los Angeles being involved. Whenever the city of Los Angeles is relevant, that's when the majority of Americans start to pay attention to sports out west. Yes, Seattle Sounders, you are more prestigious than LAFC. You are more successful than LAFC. You have more continental championships than, well, actually, I take that back. You actually don't. You are up there with LA Galaxy when it comes to continental championships. But LA Galaxy is still more popular than you. Why is that? Well, because the city of Los Angeles is just a bigger city. It's more popular than you. And it's just a reality that you soccer fans are gonna have to live with. Listen, Seattle fans, Cascadia fans. The city of Seattle is not a national draw. I know there's people that grew up in Seattle that currently works in sports media that tries to make it seem like Seattle is a national draw. But in reality, most Americans don't really care about the city of Seattle when it comes to sports. That's just the reality. That doesn't mean people hate you and your culture and your city. You're just not as popular as Los Angeles. And it's just a reality. And now, I know I personally have been one of the biggest Seattle Sounders cheerleaders. That was out of respect. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the CCL run, I would not have done my due research to know much about the Sounders. It was through that CCL run that motivated me to find out what this team is all about. So it was a good thing that they went on that CCL run. Because if they didn't go on that CCL run, I wouldn't have been promoting them as much as I have been doing. I did that out of pure respect. And I still respect the Seattle Sounders. But at the same time, I am a realist. And me not being an MLS fan, me not being an American soccer fan, me just being a sports spectator, I know the reality. And when it comes to sports west of I-35, sports west of Austin, west of Dallas, west of Kansas City, people pay attention to those teams only when the city of Los Angeles is relevant. I give you an example. We know the history of the Denver Broncos of the NFL. We know the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. We know the history of the Raiders. But let's be honest. We all know that if the Rams are not relevant, if the Rams or the 49ers are not relevant, most people are not paying attention. So maybe instead of me saying the city of Los Angeles, maybe I should say the state of California. Because it's the same way with the NBA. If the Golden State, when it comes to the Western Conference, if the Golden State Warriors or the LA Lakers are not playing well, most people are not paying attention to sports in the Western Conference of the NBA. Look how decent the Denver Nuggets has been. How much national praise and attention they've been getting. The only time, well, it's not much. The only time that they're mentioned is if Golden State or the Lakers are playing well. And then Nuggets come into the conversation as like a potential upset. Can the Nuggets upset the Golden State Warriors? Can the Denver Nuggets upset the LA Lakers? But it's never can the Golden State Warriors upset the Nuggets. Can the Lakers upset the Nuggets? That's never the conversation. Why is that? Because sports west of I-35 is irrelevant unless the state of California is performing well. And that's just the reality. So moving forward, Cascadia Boys, your rivalry is going to be played in the shadows of El Tráfico. It's going to be played in the shadows of the LA Galaxy San Jose rivalry. I don't remember the name of that rivalry from the top of my head. Your rivalry is going to be played in the shadows of the Texas Boys whenever Houston chooses to pick up the slack. And if Dallas chooses to remain consistent, because I believe in Austin. Austin's going to be around for a long time. So Cascadia Boys, Cascadia fans, live with it. As we are progressing, as more fans, as more people start to watch the MLS because we got a 2026 World Cup coming up. When it comes to Western Conference, the teams that most people are going to be paying attention to are the Cali Boys and the Texas Boys. Why? Because those 6 teams are in 2 of the biggest states in the country. Austin, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, San Jose. Those 5 cities are bigger than Seattle, Portland, Vancouver. That's just the reality. So Cascadia fans, live with it. Now as for you Cascadia Boys, Portland, Seattle, Y'all got to play with some pride, man. There is no reason why. Look, injuries happen to everybody. Injuries is part of the game. Nashville, Salt Lake, and Minnesota should not be on top of y'all in the standings. You guys are better than, historically now, you guys are better than those three teams. And as we move forward, if y'all two don't want to be relegated to the shadows of the Cali Boys and the Texas Boys, y'all got to continue to play better. Now, I know for you, Seattle, streaks don't last forever. You have never missed the playoffs. This year might be the year that you actually missed the playoff. And if so, that's fine, because you already won something. So for you, this offseason, all you have to do is just go back to the drawing board. Now, Portland, you still got some work to do. You were a runner-up in the MLS Cup title, and you lost in penalty kicks to NYCFC. Well, Portland, you're supposed to build off of that. You're supposed to be playing with so much anger and motivation just for the sake of vengeance. So for the both of y'all just gotta play with pride. Look, Nashville is a Southeast team that's playing a Western Conference schedule. And their first 7 games, I believe it was like their first 7 games of the season, they're on the road. 7 straight road games because their home stadium wasn't ready yet. How in the hell is a Southeast team that's traveling way more than y'all have this entire season still on top of y'all in the standings? Where is the pride? Now, for Salt Lake now, we know Salt Lake's always going to have an advantage playing in altitude. So, real Salt Lake is like the Denver Nuggets of the NBA. You know, they're always going to be good in the regular season, and then they get exposed in the playoffs. That's just the reality of altitude teams. Minnesota has a real goalkeeper in Dane St. Clair. But historically, Minnesota is not better than you, Seattle, Portland. I want to see both of you teams go out there and play with pride tonight. Play with some pride. And Cascadia fans, Seattle, Portland, stop crying about not getting national recognition about your rivalry. The state of California will always be bigger and it will always be more popular than you. California and Texas will always be bigger and always be more popular than you. Live with it. Live with it. And just enjoy your culture. Everybody doesn't have to love your culture. You don't need national recognition. National recognition should not validate your culture. National recognition should not validate your love for your club, Cascadia fans, Seattle fans, Portland fans. So stop crying to the national media about getting recognition. Just live with it and enjoy your culture.